and I will let the people in.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I see you're entering right now the room. So just wait 2 minutes. I see people are connecting to audio, and then I think we can start just a second. Okay, good. So welcome everybody to the final conference of the FoodFactory-4-Us International Student Competition. Let me just say right away, we're recording this session. My name is Line Lindner, and I'm here with my two colleagues, Catherine Flynn and Christoph Knöbel. We are from ISEKI-Food Association, which is an independent European non-profit organization bridging education, research, and industry in the food chain. We're doing several EU projects funded by the European Commission, and one of these projects is the Next Food project. And here we're conducting action learning and action research in 12 innovative cases in different countries of the world. And one of these cases is the FoodFactory-4-Us International Student Competition. So I will give you a brief fact check on what is the competition about. So we've been running different cycles since 2017 on different topics related to sustainability. We had topics on enhancement of shelf life, fighting food and energy losses, sustainable aquaculture, and last year we had the topic of sustainable cereals. The competition is for teams of master students, and teams are composed of 3 to 5 students. And the main objective of the competition is to encourage student teams to design a solution on the competition theme relevant to the food industry. And by participating in the competition, student teams work on a real food industry-based sustainability problem. And as such, we aim at improving the specific knowledge and competences of the students, their cooperation skills, awareness, and of the importance and the benefits of teamwork in a competitive environment. We also have a board of academic and industry representatives who evaluate the team's project reports and choose the winning team eventually. That is why we're here today. Now let me give you an overview of the structure of our competition. Now we are in an online learning environment, and in line with the Next Food approach, we aim at fostering a participatory, learner-centric and action-oriented learning experience for the students. And throughout the competition, the students have participated in 6 online trainings, fostering the development of 6 so-called core competences. Those are, as you see on the screen, observation, reflection, dialogue, visioning, participation, and facilitation. These core competences, we believe, are essential to be change makers and to push the green shift. Now, for the last 4.5 months, the student teams have been working on their projects, which we will be hearing about in a few minutes. And in parallel to participating in the learning activities, which consist of 6 online trainings, they have been going through these, for instance, they had a student presentation webinar or online training where one student for each of the teams shared their practical experiences related to food biodiversity. We heard about internships, visits to farms or companies, and the remaining students observed and commented on an online storyboard what they thought was most interesting about the presented experience. We also had the student suggestion online training where we practiced what we called student-led reflection. And here we were happy to be able to invite the author of a publication suggested by some of the students, and he joined us to talk about cultured meat and meat alternatives. And then we had groups independent of the teams where students were asked to assign roles. We had one facilitator, one presenter, one timekeeper, and they had to work in the group and to agree on one question to the external presenter. So overall, we practiced these 6 core competences in the online trainings using different methodologies and tools. We will share also later the link to the Next Food project, and where you can learn more about action learning. Now I will just briefly tell you about the assessment. So in parallel with attending and participating in the online trainings, our student teams have been working on their project reports since the competition began in October last year. And by the end of January this year, they submitted their project reports and their presentations, which we will be hearing about today. And since then, our advisory board has been evaluating the project reports on the basis of the quality of the strategy and development against the problem description, and also the overall clarity of the project report. They have been evaluating the project concept related to innovation, application to industry, impact and the group interaction and teamwork. And finally, the presentation slides. And now during the presentation, the advisory board members who are present here also today in the audience will be evaluating the method of delivery and the response to questions. That's also why we'll take a 20-minute break after the last presentation for us to collect all points given by the advisory board before we can announce the winning team around 3:45. Now, as this is a competition, there are of course prizes for the winning team. The winning team will receive an award of €300 sponsored by ISEKI-Food Association, a guaranteed oral presentation in the session on biodiversity, and free conference registration to the ISEKI-Food 2021 conference, which will be held online end of June. And additionally, they will also be invited to the next Food Final project meeting scheduled for the spring 2022, just before the project ends, where they will be giving their presentation to project partners and other invited stakeholders. And of course, all team members of the whole competition will receive certificates of participation. Now, let's turn to this year's competition. So the topic of the competition is valorization of food biodiversity. Now, we're all aware that global environmental challenges related to water scarcity, rising temperatures, extreme weather conditions, but also demographic challenges and rising population levels, malnutrition, these challenges are extremely important today, and that we need solutions to counterfight and tackle these challenges. Valorization of food biodiversity can play and is already playing an increasingly important role in light of tackling these challenges. And our 9 student teams have been working on finding solutions to valorizing food biodiversity, and we're really excited to learn about them just in a minute. So we have, as I said, we have these 9 teams, and when we opened the call in September last year, we received actually 27 team applications from more than 90 students worldwide. And after the advisory board evaluated all incoming project proposals, 10 out of these 27 teams were accepted. Unfortunately, 1 team dropped out, but since October, these 9 teams that you see here on the screen have been working on finding solutions to valorizing food biodiversity. So before we give the floor to our 9 competing teams, I'd like to summarize how we go through it today. So each team has 10 minutes to give their presentation. Then we have 2 to 3 minutes for questions from you, from the audience. And everyone can ask questions. And please do so either in writing by putting your question in the chat box, or you can also do it orally by raising your hand. And here you just click the button reactions in the bottom right side. And then we will open your microphone and you can ask your question. And besides that, I already hear everyone has their microphone muted, so I guess I don't have to remind you, but that's really important. But before we then start with the first presentation, I think we should take a group picture of all the student teams. So I kindly ask you, all of you, to turn on your cameras. I will stop sharing my presentation, and then we take a group picture. Great. Christoph, can you take the picture?
I'm just waiting for cameras to.
Great.
Yeah.
I can tell you we have students from all over the world. We have from Ethiopia, South Africa, India, Indonesia, France, Belgium, Peru.
South America.
Yeah, so different time zones also. Somewhere it's morning, somewhere it's evening. Here it's afternoon. We're from Austria. Catherine is in France. Okay, I think we can take the picture now.
Smile.
Great. You ready, Christoph? You took the pictures? Great. Good, then I will hand over to you, Catherine.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Thank you, Line, for introducing the competition and welcoming everyone so warmly. You see now a bigger picture of today's program. And I will tell you that the teams are giving their presentation in a random order. And each team, as Line said, has a total of 15 minutes, and we suggest 10 minutes for the presentation and 5 minutes for questions. And I remind both the teams and the audience that answering questions is a part of how the teams are evaluated. So as an audience member, it is important to ask a question. And as the teams, it is important to have time for questions. So with that, we will ask the first team, and that is FAM, to please turn on your cameras, turn on your microphones, and you can go ahead and start sharing your screen.
Hello.
Okay, so here is Mina from the FAM team. Excellent. I will stop sharing.
And Christina will be sharing her screen. It's coming right away.
Okay, and I'm going to turn off my video also. So it is your show now.
Christina, you're on mute. So we can't hear you now.
Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
I can't see your screen yet.
Is it here?
Yes, coming now.
It's written that it's sharing. So
okay, so we are starting your 15 minutes now. Good luck.
Okay. So first of all, hello everyone. My name is Mina, and I'm very honored to be here today and start today's agenda by presenting with my dear friend Christina our project Reverse and Diverse. So this project was born during an endless team calls with 4 of my new friends and colleagues, Emery, Priya, Isaac, and Christina. To set you the context, we're 5 students in food and agribusiness management in France, but we all come from very different backgrounds. I used to study political science, and Christina, for example, is a professional chef. So you can understand better, what happened is that during the class, we needed to create a business. And to create this business, we wanted to come up with something new, something creative. And we agreed that it's great to create a random company, but let's create something with some meaning and try to be sustainable, help people in need, and creative. So today, our agenda will be to present this idea project, Reverse and Diverse, and highlight how important biodiversity was for us and how we expect to be impactful thanks to a circular model. So let's jump right into it. Why did we create Reverse and Diverse? So as I told in introduction, it started as an academic project with the will to create something that will be useful and adapted to nowadays challenge. And the challenge we're talking about are food waste and food hunger. The World Hunger Education Service has estimated that over 870 million individuals suffer from chronic undernourishment, and 27% of those people are found in Africa. So we ask ourselves, why? Is there because there's not enough resources? And actually, it's the contrary. We learned that 50% of the food created in Africa goes to waste. It was a big shock for us. So we jumped a little bit deeper inside of it and asked ourselves, where is the food wasted? Well, according to the FAO and to the figure you can see on the screen, food waste is mainly lost during the post-harvest and storage phase. So we took this into account and we created Reverse and Diverse. So the objective of Reverse and Diverse is to create a new product from vegetable waste thanks to a cost-effective and beneficial method of preservation called probiotic fermentation during the post-harvest and storage phase. So we will take food waste vegetables such as cauliflowers or cucumber and create a probiotic food that will be then distributed to the people suffering from food stress. But you're asking me, why and how will we use fermentation and food waste to diverse diets? Well, for this technical part, I'm going to mute myself and leave the floor to Christina, our expert on the question.
can you hear me first? Yes? Okay, great. So thank you, Mina, for your part. And first, probably you're wondering why professional chef is presenting the fermentation part. So actually, I'm also a food scientist and a food technologist. And I was working in a circular farm where we implemented the fermentation, the probiotic fermentation for humans and animal foods. And also with my team, we visited really amazing experimental farm in France, where we saw how the fermentation works, and they use the surplus of vegetables to ferment and to create animal feed. So first, what is probiotics? It's actually part of functional foods, and it's part of our microbiome and our good bacteria living in our guts. And we can increase those probiotics in our body to help improve our health. Also, this can be used for animal health, as I mentioned. So lactic acid bacteria actually is one of the most common bacteria. So general lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. Those bacteria, they work on sugars, and they are just creating a new product. And so you see the whole image of the fermentation process. We take surplus vegetables in Nigeria. Also, it can be used for fruit. We just need something what has sugar in it. We apply the probiotics as a powder. We ferment them thanks to African climate and warm conditions. Then we have the probiotic food, so it can be juices, salads, dried probiotics, it can be everything you want. And the final product then will be distributed in Nigeria. So this part, I will pass to Mina, and she will explain you how it works in Nigeria.
Yes, so I've presented the project generally, and first, thank you, Christina, for your precision. But now let's you explain why Nigeria. Well, first of all, because Emery, one of our team member, is from Nigeria, so that helped us gain a lot of knowledge. But the second and also main reason is that it's one of the most populated countries in Africa, and agriculture plays a key role in the country's development, representing around 20 to 21% of the GDP. And among the agriculture, more than 7 million tons of fruits and vegetables are produced per year. But there is the trick. 75% of this food is wasted, according to sources such as James Iasola, due to many reasons, lack of storage or bad logistic. So the situation in Nigeria has motivated us to go further in our project and take into account the biodiversity, and this is what we're going to go see next. So as it was presented before, biodiversity and how to preserve it is this year's topic. So during our process, we ask ourselves, how can reverse and diverse be impactful? Well, and why in Nigeria? Well, first of all, because Nigeria is an amazing country. I don't know if you visited already, but when Emery talks about Nigeria, I just want to jump in a plane, go visit it, go see the sea, the lands, the farms, and learn what they produce. Well, Emery also gave me a tip about that. They mainly produce maize, cassava, yams, and beans. But they also do produce more local fruits and vegetables, as you can see on the presentation, such as June plume or cola nuts. And these products are what inspired us to create our biodiversity goals. So we created biodiversity goals inside of Reverse and Diverse. If you take a look at the gap between the local demand and local production, there are many growth opportunities to develop the local economy and help restore the biodiversity. So with less stress about food waste in their production, farmers will be able to bring back a focus on indigenous crops such as local celery or okra or the fruits I just mentioned before. So this is how we see our goal, to help reduce the stress for farmers so they can focus more on non-Western products and to local and indigenous product. And the second part is that fermented food, as Christina explained, was part of the diet of African countries before. So a product will be accepted and will not be a shock. So, but one way that we need to go is that we need to reach people, and therefore we needed to create a model that was adapted, coherent, and circular. So Reverse and Diverse will be involving many stakeholders in order to create a system that will help market and farmers distribute and create a new product to households, thanks to the help of the government and NGOs. So the relationship that we need to insist on in the NGOs and the farmers, that is key to the success of Reverse and Diverse, because we don't have much data and we don't want to disrupt the market when entering it. So therefore, we really want to create a great relationship with NGOs to apply our product and to help preserving the biodiversity of Nigeria. So we will be working with local NGOs, but also with more general NGOs such as farmers. So my time is almost up. And as you said, questions are very important. So let me jump into the conclusion. So one thing we want to do is insist on the fact that we strongly believe in the development of a sustainable product that will be suitable for Nigeria, but not only, it will also be suitable for the full African market. In general, it will help both food stress, food and food waste, but also increase the biodiversity in all the countries. We want a circular model, a great energy cost-free product, and an easy application. And that is what we're proposing with Reverse and Diverse. So before I leave the floor to questions, I would like just to finish with a small thank you to Catherine, Christophe, and Lynn, who have brought us so much during those months. And each meeting for us was a great source of knowledge and inspiration. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope you enjoyed Reverse and Diverse. And don't hesitate to ask questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Mina and Christina. That was excellent. Super start to our conference presentations. Please, if you have a question, raise your hand, or you can also type your question into the chat. Let's get some questions for these ladies, please. I see a hand.
Yes, Edison?
Congratulations, friends. And my question is, if you create a product with probiotics, how many people will consume this product considering their food preference in this zone?
In this country?
Yeah, because it's important to create a product with a food preference.
Yes, of course. So as Christina explained, probiotic food and fermented food is part of the African diet, so it will not be a shock. And we actually did create a survey for our business plan, so more academic project, where we had some very good response from people in Africa, thanks to Emery, that was our contact in Africa. And the response, the answers were very positive. Almost 80% of people were agreeing that they will eat fermented food. So for us, it was a confirmation that we were going on the right path.
At the same time, Emery did interviews together with my team members and myself, with agronomists and with food scientists and farmers in Nigeria, where they were very interested in this idea, and we may apply this in the future. So we're quite happy with the results we received.
And I saw a question on the chat about what kind of product do we have in mind. So we're thinking on using the vegetable, and you may be familiar. Our first idea, where idea come from, I didn't mention it, was from kimchi and the trend that exists with kefir or fermented drinks. So that's the type of product we're targeting. And we were even thinking even further. First, we want to really help people in Nigeria and Africa, but if our products are good quality enough, or even are too much for only one country, we're thinking on going even further and bringing them in Europe, for example, to bring a new source of income to farmers. So that's the type of product we're targeting.
And also what was not probably mentioned, but we can answer by the question, that bringing African food, which is not familiar to other people, we can increase the diversity of our diet as well. So this can be also a great idea.
Mina, do you see another question in the chat about the costing?
So no, we don't have a clear costing yet, and actually we're developing it in our business plan. It's what we're working right now. We first wanted to focus on our idea for the contest, and for actually our class, we're focusing on the more economical and money part. But we know that we really strongly will hope to depend on international and government help, because our mean is to go beyond just helping farmers. It's to be acknowledged, for example, with the FAO or the World Food Program. And also by working with NGOs, it will reduce our costs, because it will be a give-give relationship.
And we'll take one final question, and this is from Daria. Do you see this about what kind of probiotic microorganisms you plan to use?
That's for Christina to answer. You're on mute, Christina. Christina,
you're mute.
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So first, yeah, thank you for a great question. Looking into different continents and Africa, we first need to start to search for the bacterium, which is accepted in different climates and environments. Looking into the researches in African countries, because back in the days, actually, Africa was quite known for fermentation. We don't know what can be the reasons why they stopped doing that. And the most common probiotics belong to the genera Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. And also the bacteria which can tolerate high pH, so with the high levels of lactic acid, which can inhibit the spoilage, so it's safe for humans and animals consumption. Yeah, we need, if we are starting this project in Nigeria, if we are implementing it, we searched for the laboratories, microbiological laboratories who are working in African countries, so they can help us to develop the further the bacteria, lactobacillus, which are suitable for Nigeria.
Great. Thank you both very much. We will stop here. Thank you to the FAM team. And we move now to our next team, and this is Lost Crops of Africa. So we stay in the African continent and ask Lost Crops of Africa to please turn on your cameras, your microphones, and please go ahead and share your screen. Nikita, great. And Mina and Christina, please turn off your cameras. And Nikita, are you there ready to speak? I can't hear you.
Unmute and start the video. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so we are starting your timing now. Welcome to the Lost Crops of Africa.
Okay, here you go. Okay, go Natty. Good day, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Our team, Lost Crops of Africa, decided to focus on Marama bean with the view to valorize underutilized crops in Africa and develop non-dairy alternatives. We're a diverse team from different parts of Africa, namely Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and South Africa, but we share the same passion for Africa to feed itself and the rest of the world.
And now from Africa to South Africa. So South Africa is home to 10% of the world's plant species. And in 2020, our government was tasked with drawing on indigenous knowledge and bioprospecting, because the most widely grown crops still consist of maize, wheat, sugarcane, and sunflower. And this threatens biodiversity. So this reliance on a handful of major crops has inherent agronomic, economic, ecological, and nutritional consequences, and we believe is unsustainable in the long run. So just to show you, this is also echoed in some statistics. So 33% of food is wasted in South Africa. Well, 26% of South Africans are food insecure. That's more than a quarter of our country. Lower income households spend a total of 35% of their income on food. However, this is still not sufficient to meet nutritional requirements. And then a healthy basket of food in South Africa can cost up to 65% more than junk food. Imagine that. And then even though South Africa is a water scarce country, irrigated agriculture is still the largest user of water in South Africa at 62%. So from a dairy perspective, we also found that 21% of dairy is wasted due to storage, cold chain issues, and also distribution.
South Africa is the largest consumer of dairy, which is milk, in the Middle East and African countries. It produces about 280,000 liters of milk every year, and this milk is used in your yogurts, cheese, and other dairy products. This milk is not enough to sustain South African population, because in 2019, it was estimated that 84,000 tons of milk was imported into the country. There's also a huge demand for dairy alternatives. And in 2018, the industry was estimated to be worth 12 billion US dollars, with almond and soy being the largest growing segment. Most of these dairy alternatives are available to an affluent population in South Africa, but not really available for the poor in South Africa.
So that led us to, we needed to find the answer to feeding our future. And we found that this lies in a diversity of underutilized crops. And this schematic actually shows that as the exploitation, cultivation, and valorization of neglected wild crops like marama increases, so does biodiversity, food, and nutritional security. And then this in turn addresses the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which you'll see on the screen there. And there therefore lies great advantages in preserving and valorizing food culture, and in this case, the marama bean.
The marama bean goes by so many names, and just to mention a few, tsitsini or the tamani berry. The crop takes up to 18 months to reach maturation, and it is a perennial species. It produces posted vines and posted stems of up to 3 meters long, which spread from an enormous woody tuber below the ground. The large roots can grow up to 100 kilograms and have been reported to be a good source of water for gatherers during hunting season. The large fruit pod weighs about 20 grams to 30 grams and houses 2 to 3 seeds, which weigh 3 grams each. When roasted, the bean or the seed can be compared to the flavor of a cashew nut, a chestnut, or a edamame bean. It was reported that the bean is very high in protein, fats, lipids, and minerals. The nutritional value of marama is astonishingly high for an unimproved legume. This plant produces seeds that rival peanut, soybean in composition as well as nutrition value. And also it produces a high protein tuber that is bigger and more nutritious than a potato, a yam, or even a sugar beet. And the plant yields top quality vegetable oil. While marama is a good source of micronutrients such as your zinc, your iron, and your calcium, its primary agronomic potential is based on the high nutrition value of its seeds.
As we have been talking about biovalorization, we have established that marama bean is indigenous to Africa, and it has found wild use in the household and traditional use. We have been able to establish the very fact that marama is used in the feeding of vulnerable populations such as pregnant women, nursing mother, and in the development of diets for infants that are nutritionally comparable to existing formulas. Also, marama bean can be used in the traditional treatment of ailments such as eczema, eye infection, diarrhea, and in the improvement of blood circulations for patients with cardiovascular issue. On the processing of marama bean has been processed in the household level by roasting in a peanut-like manner, preparing and boiling in a way that it is consumed as porridge, and making into flour and consumed as a cocoa beverage-like product, and also prepared in a way that it looks like a culinary alternative to almond milk. On biovalorization of marama bean at a household level, a woman in 2020 known as Umtolabi from Botswana has created new frontiers in the country. Umtolabi went on to produce confectionery and biscuits from marama bean. We found out that this product is nutritionally balanced, cost-effective, and was able to feed our immediate environment, our family, and for profitability. Hence, marama bean has inherent potentials that is able to feed Africa.
So we compared the marama bean to soy and other cash crops. In comparing this marama bean, we found out that it has benefits that exceed even just nutrition. Soy is overutilized in milk production as well as in non-dairy milk production and non-meat products. Measures of statistical association between yields and environmental indicators show that carbon stocks are strongly associated with potential soybean yields. Therefore, we cannot rely on only just soy milk. Furthermore, soy is not suited for a South African climate. If we're comparing to marama, which thrives in a poor quality soil and can be cultivated in high and low temperatures. Subsequently, soy requires a high irrigation level and is negatively affected by drought, whereas marama survives drought and requires low irrigation levels. Soy further poses a major challenge for conservation as it can be a drive for deforestation, and we do not want this as in South America. Marama is indigenous, and cultivating and domesticating of this crop will ensure survival.
So now the question is, how do we use marama to feed the future? And as reported, our team focused on the value addition opportunities of marama bean milk and its products. So typically, marama milk processing involves very similar to steps as that of soy milk, and equipment is readily available and can easily be adapted to process marama. However, we still found that there are problems in the under-researched areas of marama milk shelf life stability, the cold chain accessibility, and also consumer acceptance. And therefore, the solution lies in blending novel technology with indigenous knowledge. And this is where pulse electric field has shown to improve many properties of soy and nut milk, and could therefore be key in formulating novel beverages, which would be able to compete in a plant-based milk product marketplace.
From the foregoing, we have been able to establish the wide importance of marama bean at the household level and at the community level. Also, we have been able to establish that different products can be produced from marama bean. Chiefly among is marama milk. The reason why we embarked on this is so that every consuming household in South Africa can have equal access to nutritionally important milk, yet at cost-effective price. For example, our team embarked on a survey and on a pilot scale study. We found out that to put 1 liter of marama milk on the shelf in South Africa, it would only cost us about 0.29 euro, an equivalent of 5 South African rand. And then we found out that to put the dairy counterpart on the same shelf, we are going to be spending about 15 rand, which is about 0.85 euro, and then about 30 rand to put soy milk on the shelf, a whopping 1.69 euro alternative. Therefore, we looked at a way of balancing the equation. We found out that everybody would be able to afford marama milk at the household level. Also, we saw that nutritionally, marama milk is not lacking. For example, marama milk is low in cholesterol, high in essential fatty acids. It is very rich in isoflavones, which are bioactive compounds that reduces inflammation and chronic disease in individuals. Also, marama milk is rich in fiber and has protein level, which does not differ significantly from other milk such as dairy and soy milk. Therefore, it is important to know that marama milk, even though cost effective, yet it does not lack nutritionally.
So, reflecting on the project, our team has learned that when we blend biodiverse actions, neglected crops, indigenous knowledge, and new technology, the valorization potentials are endless. And in this case, it's the same with the marama bean. So imagine replacing the conventional strawberry and apricot flavors with indigenous marama-based monkey orange ice cream or marula-flavored milk, or even a num-num yogurt on future South African shelves. And that is why we believe that marama bean has the potential to close this biodiversity loop. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Lost Crops of Africa. That was a fabulous presentation. I cannot wait to try some marama products. And yeah, do we have time for at least one, maybe two questions? So please raise your hand or type into the chat.
There's the chat.
Well done, great presentation. Okay, are there products for meat analogous? That's a good, let's see, I lost the question. Are there products for meat analogs on the market?
Yes, well, from Marama, no, that's also one of the under-researched areas. But what we did find is you have to focus either on dairy or on alternative meats because the processing differs quite a lot. But yes, there's a lot of potential in Marama meat alternatives. Currently in South Africa on the shelves, we have imported meat alternatives. And then we also have a local chicken alternative, which is basically just came out beginning of this year, and it's being trialed in restaurants at the moment. So I would say Marama would be more suited to the chicken side. Other question? And I see some questions.
You see the other question in the chat about anti-nutritional factors. Are there any in Marama beans like there are in soybeans?
Yeah, there are anti-nutritional compounds in Marama bean, but one of the things that we mentioned is the processing aspect. Using the post-electric field. We think that before using the post-electric field, soaking for a period of about 12 hours will leach out the anti-nutritional factors, and also we'll be able to dissolve some of those compounds into beneficial compounds. For example, some anti-nutritional compounds have been found to contain bioactives and phytochemicals.
There's protein.
Great.
I see we have a question. Do we still have time for one more question?
Yes, let's take that last one on the composition of the fats.
On toxins. Yes, the removal of toxins. That's why we say it's quite a similar process to processing soybean, and that would also be to do some toxicological analysis. There has been studies done on the like I said, the toxic parameters, but that's mostly in Botswana. So we want to see if we can do that on this side. Yes.
Okay, super. So we will stop the lost crops of Africa here, and thank you again for an excellent presentation. And we go now to Un Alimento, Una Vida, our team from Peru. And I see that Sheila has her camera on, so I will turn it right over to you, Sheila, Diana, and Edelson. It is all yours.
Well, good morning from Peru. We are the team Calpachazón son Conchista, Un Alimento, Una Vida. The title we have decided to establish for our project is Mitigate the Loss and Waste of Food as a Guarantee of Sustainable Food Systems and Biodiversity in the Feeding of Common Pots in Lima, Peru. I am Sheila Gutierrez, and my colleagues are Diana Santisteban, Edilson Soldevilla. We all belong to the Master Program in Nutrition from the Agrarian University. And our mentor in this process has been the Dr. Cardenas Aide. Josemir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, and we see your slides just fine.
Okay. Well, to start with the problem, we have identified that there are high levels of loss and waste of vegetable foods, especially which are produced from farmers in the north part of Lima. So this excess of loss and waste of this kind of foods contribute to the insecurity in the families that are part in common pots in district of north part of Lima. The causes that we have identified are that we have divided the causes in 4 groups. To start with the farmers, we have identified that they have a deficient technical capabilities and poor infrastructure in the production process. This is because in most of the cases, they have limited technical assistances because small farmers are not considered in most of the agriculture sector policies. So in consequence, there are a little budget for improvement of the agricultural sector in this part of Lima. And the group of industry, there are high amounts of discarded products because the industry here doesn't have the enough technology and the capacity for processing, for conserving fresh products in high amounts. So they have the idea that throwing away is cheaper than use that product. In the case of the markets, there are high amounts of discarded products because high aesthetic standards. So the products which are sold first are the ones that have a proper size, a proper weight, a proper appearances. But what people don't know is that the others one which are not looking good have the same nutritional value, but at the end are discarded. Also, there are a lack of knowledge about ripening time of vegetable, which contribute to the waste of food. And the people also doesn't have manipulation techniques and storage because also they don't have the storage facilities in the market, like refrigerations and other things. In the case of the consumers, we have identified that there are a lack of knowledge also about the ripening time, and they don't know how to use those foods into nutritional preparations. So that's why they don't know how to use all the biodiversity that we have in fruits and vegetables. Also, they have a low purchase planning capacity. They prefer to get the foods day by day. They don't have a planification, which contribute that they are accumulating food, and at the end, that food will be waste. And also they have inadequate eating behaviors. So Diana, my colleague will continue.
Thank you, Sheila. Hello, everyone. I'm Diana. So in this project, solution strategies have been proposed grouped into 3 levels according to all aspects of the problem in the food chain, as Sheila mentioned. We want to involve these 3 sectors, farmers, but also the industry and market and consumers. Next, please. So in the first category, farmers, we propose to establish alliances with farmers to ensure the donation and supply of food with high nutritional potential to the common pots. Why the common pots and what's common pots? Well, in these areas are the poorest people in the capital at risk of food insecurity. So this is a group of people who cook together because they want to they're a large community, and they put together all those resources to cook for all of them at the same time. Well, also in these areas, we produce a large amount of fruit and vegetable. Peru is particularly rich in these kind of sources, so we want to valorize them instead of throwing away, as Sheila mentioned. For that, we propose to develop a logistic track application. This will be a platform to facilitate the exchange and the donation of food to these zones. And also our project partner and farmers can publish their products or verify what is available, maybe for surplus production, or maybe food were not sold, but it's in good condition. Always promoting the thought of reuse instead of throwing away. Also, we will manage the training for this application. But also, we have many institutions in Peru working on issues related to the valorization of food. We have the Banco de Alimentos in Peru, Innovate Peru, Minagre, also universities, private company, and sustainable circular economy projects. So we think that all can working together to help us to fight against these laws and waste of food. In addition, it's important to monitor all these strategies with socioeconomic, environmental, nutritional status indicator to contribute to the reduction of food insecurity. This is particularly important because Sheila and Edison, my partners, they are nutritionists, so they are really aware of that. Next, please. Well, next, our industry-related ideas are grouped in two connected ideas. The first is the production of bagasse powder from fruit and vegetable waste, primarily peels and bagasse. Then this powder will replace a percentage of wheat flour in a bread formulation. As a result, we will obtain a high fiber product, a nutrient not widely consumed by our population. That is precisely why bread was chosen as a vehicle. This is a staple of the Peruvian diet. So as you can see in the image, at the top, there are a bread made with 100% of wheat flour, but below we have also bread with a partial substitution of apple and mandarin bagasse. It's interesting to see the shape and the color that don't change dramatically. Next, please. These are examples of products that can be made directly from food waste, but also could be more. We have an example, a bread with a partial substitution of apple and mandarin bagasse. And we can see that the total dietary fiber increased significantly in the bread made with this substitution. We are this product is based on previous studies, but also this is reasonable to our country because we have a low national wheat production. So in the first month, next please. In the first month of 2020, wheat flour imports total like $176 million. We can see that in this chart, in this table, we have what that means in kilograms. Next, please. Well, traditional breads will always have a place on the household table, but they must go hand in hand with health. So we propose that call this pan nutritanta, that means healthy bread in our native language, Quechua. So, but in a long term, we can also diversify this kind of product in other presentations such as cookies. Next, please. Well, finally, in the last sector, market and consumers, we propose the development of a nutritional preparation guide with reusable supplies. This will be nutritious, easy to make, especially at the levels of the common pots. Also, the products mentioned, such as the bread, will be promoted at market, but also could be donated to this common pot because we think that it's important, this social part of to solve food insecurity in zones at risk. Next slide. Well, so we have we put together all because we are a multidisciplinary team, but also we want to incorporate more careers because, as we mentioned, all food chain is related since farmers to the final consumer. So also we resolve the importance of strategic alliances between all of this sector and the group that I mentioned, and also implement technological devices or apps because this is what it permits to make faster things, and we identify the problem. The big part of the problem is at the beginning at the level of the transport. So
Diana, I continue.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, as you have been able to observe, the loss of weight of food affects the food chain. It's an important problem in Peru. 40% of these problems being during harvests, affecting food security, economic income, and natural resources. especially in common pots. It's important because their population have different economic and nutritional problems today. The increase in malnutrition requires sustainable food systems and reducing food waste for efficient use and diversification of able foods using biodiversity food. For this reason, our project have innovative approach with a multidisciplinary team, strategies as alliances include privacy and public statements, and also using technology tools with mobile application. Continue, Shay. And also the most important point is we contribute to reduce the social, economic, and environmental problems. First, the social from improve the situation of food insecurity and nutritional status of vulnerable households in the intervention area, especially in North Lima, Peru. Also contribute to a constantly moving change of commerce to help economic in farmers, and finally reduce large volumes of water, decrease soils, to reduce greenhouse gas emission, its environmental impact.
Well, that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Super. Thank you. Thank you very much to the team Un Alimento, Una Vida. And we will open the floor for 1 or 2 questions, please. And we have a question in the chat, and this is asking about the contribution of your project to biodiversity.
Yeah, primarily we want to valorize the food that is waste at the level of the old food chain, beginning to the farmers, because we identify that huge loss start in this part, but also in all the food chains in the industry and also in the consumer part.
Also, we could use the loss and waste on fruit about fruits, especially in North Lima, produce amount a huge amount of fruits to produce this bread.
Also, the contribution to the biodiversity is when the people will know how to use different kinds of vegetables and fruits that they haven't eaten before. So they will know the preparations in which they could integrate that food, and it will be like a change. So they will consume that kind of food constantly.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much to Un Alimento, Una Vida. And we will keep our time and move ahead to our next presentation. And this is coming from the team Cheese Inov. Cheese Inov, can you please, Ilyas, I see, is ready. Diana, can you turn off your camera, please? Great. And Ilyas and team, excellent. I turn it over to you straight away.
I hope that you hear me well. Perfect.
Yes, hear you
Okay.
fine. And put your slides on presentation mode. I see all the slides on the side. Excellent. And now it is all yours.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for being here, and we're so pleased to finally be able to present our projects in details. And today we will tell you about our cross-cultural approach to develop a new plant-based cheese. A simple plan to follow. First of all, we will discuss the motives behind this idea, then what makes our solution a feasible one, as we will see how some decisions were made to enhance the positive impacts of our project. As you all know, the human population, the world population is showing constant growth, whereas our livestock farms are nearing the limits, and we may have surpassed the limit of what the land can provide. And to regain a certain equilibrium, the finding of new alternatives is the answer. And in order to have an alternative that is desirable, we better choose a growing market like the cheese market, which demonstrates a continuous growth of 1.12% each year with a production volume of 24 million tons during the year of 2019. Our project is also aiming to provide solutions for people with special diets. And the studies have shown that 75% of adults are showing a decrease on their capacity to degrade lactose, whereas 92% of vegans are suffering from vitamin B12 deficiency, for instance. Dairy farming, like any other farming practices, have an appreciable impact on water, landscape, and soil health. Dairy farms are consuming huge amount of water and might alter in a bad way the quality of groundwater with the use of nitrates and pesticides. Land, which is also our most valuable resource, is allocated 2/3 to livestock, and the soil also may lose its integrity due to the increased use of pesticides, antibiotics, and minerals, while, for instance, choosing to switch from organic or agroecologic farming to the intensive farming. With no more suspense, please welcome our solution, a plant-based cheese, Cheese Enough, a cheese which is approved by cheese lovers and desired also by the market of special diets. All of that while helping on soil preservation, water preservation, and also helping on increasing food biodiversity and local productions. Our solution, or Cheese Enough, is really a solution to everyone, which needs no intensive farming practices or international logistics, because thanks to its feasibility, Cheese Enough is a concept which is applicable worldwide.
So now in this part, we are going to explain the reflection that we had to do to make sure our product matched with the objectives my colleague just explained to you. When we decided to create a new kind of vegan cheese, we asked ourselves what we could do to be different from the already existing vegan cheese, what we could do to be even better. That's how we ended up agreeing that we could innovate on 3 different aspects, and that is to say the formulation, the process, and finally the starters. Firstly, the formulation. After doing a benchmark, we have noticed that most vegan cheese use expensive ingredients that are not easily available and that they almost all have the same plant base. We wanted our vegan cheese to have simple ingredients that are easily available and that are not expensive. That's how we selected cashew nut and peanut. The rest of our ingredients are also simple: water and salt. The second aspect is the process. Again, we wanted to keep it simple without the need to use expensive and energy-consuming machines so that it could be reproduced in less developed countries. Basically, our process consists of pasteurizing the nut, then soaking, rinsing, and straining them. Then we are going to grind them with salt before mixing them with the starters. After these steps, our vegan cheese is going to go through its first fermentation. Afterwards, we are going to shape them before letting them go through their second fermentation, while mixing it every 10 days before letting it age for around 2 weeks. The final aspect are the starters. We have decided to use 3 starters that have not yet been used in the making of vegan cheese. The first one is the acidification flora, which is going to help us bring down our pH and help with the preservation. The second one is the maturing flora, which is going to give our vegan cheese its flavor. And the final one is the nutritional flora, which is going to provide vitamin B12 that vegan and vegetarian people often lack.
About the packaging, for the external packaging, the first criteria is prevent shocks, then prevent direct contamination, and one more equally important criteria for the sustainable is can be recyclable. Therefore, we suggest using something like wood boxes, what made by wicker, bamboo, or banana leaves. For the internal packaging, the criteria are grease-proof, waterproof, and oxygen permeable. Then we conclude the most suitable packaging is parchment paper. All of them cost quite cheap. About the feasibility study, you can see that this process has no expensive device needed. The formulation is very easy accessible. It is made of local materials such as peanuts and cashew nuts. The starter can be stored and easily replicated. Cheese aging stage have wide temperature range. It ranges from 4 to 12 degrees Celsius. And the strengths were analyzed through 4 factors. They are green, healthy, social development, and innovative. To some people, the best cheese for human is the best cheese for the environment. Unlike dairy cheese, our vegan cheese production process consumes less water than other. It have increased food biodiversity. To our health, it have increased preservation time and enriched more vitamin B12. Moreover, this vegan cheese will bring more chance for agriculture's industry in our country because it have enhanced local production, especially in cashew and peanut production. Beyond that, this vegan cheese is a new plant-based cheese with a new recipe. The only one was produced by 3 various microorganisms.
Our project aims at primarily positive impacts. First, it will have diversified food products. We hope to make a kind of vegan cheese that can substitute for dairy cheese and become a brand new product, especially in Vietnam. Second, while manufacturing, we just use low water and energy footprint, no heating, no baking, so that it can contribute to being environmentally friendly. Although Vietnam is one of the countries that have high peanuts and cashew quantity, the quality of them is not very good. Therefore, making vegan cheese from these nuts will have increased their value. Finally, vegan cheese provides a rich source of nutrients like high content of unsaturated fat, omega-3, 6, 9, fiber, phytosterol, that is good for everyone, especially for consumers who are with diabetes, heart disease, lactose intolerant, or want to go animal-free. Let's move to the next part of our presentation, which is the potential applicability of vegan cheese. The first is low-price local materials. Both cashew and peanuts have reasonable prices compared to other nuts on the market. Especially, Vietnam has been the world's leading producer and exporter of cashew since 2017. The second is the potential need market. According to the Focus and Analysis 2020 to 2024, the vegan cheese market size grew by $1.27 billion. The vegan cheese market growth will be driven at a CAGR of over 8%. That is higher than dairy cheese, which is just 6.8%. The latter is sustainable, including raw materials, processing, and packaging. Besides the low price, the reasons we choose cashew and peanuts are their stable productivity and short harvest time. The processing takes less water consuming and less waste than its dairy cheese. For the packaging, as we mentioned before, we will use eco-friendly and recyclable materials to package products. To sum up, I would like to emphasize our future expectancies. Next, please. Make a viable kind of cheese to be alternative dairy cheese. These products are economical and eco-friendly. Both brand and Vietnamese teams will create vegan cheese based on our research and then compare the homogeneity between them.
Well, thank you for your attention, and we'll be pleased to answer your questions if whether you have any. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much to the team Chisinov. And while you were giving your presentation, we had a question come in about the cost and the processing of cashew nuts. Do you see that they need to be processed initially to get the kernel? And this is a bit expensive. Can you comment on the cost of the cashew nuts?
Okay, cashew nut is expensive. Relating to cost to be processed initially, which can make amazing cheese production will be expensive. Okay. Of course, we didn't choose cashew nut out of nothing. We had a big list at the beginning of this project, and like soybeans or almonds were taken out of this list because of some inconvenient points. For instance, cashew nut was kept onto the list because it's I'm going to say a popular crop in Vietnam. We can understand that it's not something that we can produce in big amounts in France. That's for sure. I can allow you to say that. So we kept it because it's already accepted in such a way in Vietnam, and because the cost of producing it in Vietnam are, we can say, that are some costs that we can ignore because it's not something that we're going to put into place from scratches, and because it's also done there, it's also accepted.
Great. Can you comment on Gerhard's question to describe the taste and the texture of the cheese?
Okay, describing the taste and the texture. We had the chance to test a lot of vegan cheese or at least the vegan cheese that we could find here in the markets in France. And trust me, we didn't really enjoy it. So one of our important points of this project is also to play on the taste side and find a way to make it at the same time eco-friendly and less water and energy consuming, but also tasty. Now actually we're still putting into place the first tests of producing this vegan cheese. And yeah, we didn't really taste it yet, but it's still undergoing.
Mm-hmm. And finally, I think we can combine the last three questions asking about allergies. And so is it perhaps possible to valorize other types of nuts in the same process?
Perfect. Allergy problems was, of course, one of the questions that we asked ourselves during these 4 months. And yes, peanuts, it's more allergic or allergenic than almonds. That's, of course, a fact. And to answer this question, we can see the project really as a concept. It's really as a piece of puzzle, we can say. And you can play with different levels to make this concept adapted to your background, to your local production, and of course to your needs as a consumer. So we're putting into place the idea of producing a vegan cheese. And of course, if you have problems with allergies and cashew nuts, then you better choose another green base like almonds or soybeans. Maybe while choosing soybeans, you will lose a little bit of that innovative aspect because it's the base we can find used by a lot of vegan cheese producers already on the markets. And yeah, so it's a possible option, and you can play with the puzzle pieces as you want to make the recipe the more adapted as possible.
Okay, excellent. So thank you to the Chisinov team. Excellent presentation. And we move to our next presenters, and this is the team KSG Ethiopia. And I see that you are here and turning on your cameras. So please go ahead and share your screen. Excellent, Kadir, good, it is coming through. Okay, put your slides into presentation mode so that we don't see the side. Great, and I don't know if I can hear you. Maybe your microphone is maybe still mute, I don't hear you. Now the slides are working fine, but I don't have any sound.
Hello?
Yes, excellent, Kadir. Okay, it is all yours. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kadir. I'm from Ethiopia. We are a master student of food science and nutrition at Addis Ababa University. We are going to present our project title, Optimization in the Formulation of Mung Bean-Based Biscuits Enriched with Carrot. Our team members are me, Kadir Kabero Jabbo, Asaron Alamayo, and Galata Daraje. Here is our presentation outline. Our presentation outline will include background and justification, statement of the problem, objectives, materials, and methods that we will use during the development of the biscuits. There is also work plan, budget estimation, and also the expected output, which the factors that will develop products. Okay, introduction. As all of you know that biscuit is mainly made from cereals such as wheat. Reports shows that the use of 100 wheat flour as a major ingredient for preparing food biscuits generally tends to result in high calories and fat, but it has a low protein, fiber, vitamin, and other nutrients. Also, in Ethiopia, there is a scarcity of wheat grain. Over the past 3 years, in Ethiopia is imported and on average 1.2 million metric tons of wheat. And here is the major production of and import of wheat in Ethiopia. As you see here, from 2017 to 2020, there is also estimation. But even though Ethiopia imports the wheat, Ethiopia will export the measure of mung bean, which is the delicious crop which has high protein. And as you see here, it is also the production of mung bean is increasing. And also here is the export of mung bean in AUC dollar. And also when we see the background of the constraints, as we know, mung bean supply a good yield, has drought resistant, and also it has the ability to stimulate Syringa without being parasitized. And also it has a good nutritive value and reasonable cost for the consumers. Here are the nutritional facts. Here is also mung bean has a good high amount of protein, which is nearly 49 grams. And also it has a rich source of fat and healthy fat and also carbohydrates. When we see the carrot is also an excellent source of phytonutrients such as phenolics, polyacetyls, and the carotenoids. There is also the nutritional facts of carrot, which it's rich in vitamin A, and also it has some important minerals. The statement of problem is, as you know, Ethiopia, did you know that Ethiopia has the second highest rate of malnutrition next to Burundi in sub-Saharan Africa? Therefore, the formulation of mung bean, carrot, and the wheat flour biscuit help to alleviate the perennial problem of this malnutrition and the vitamin deficiency. And also, we will use study area of Ethiopian Institutional Agriculture Research Center, which is a food science and nutrition research laboratory for our product development. And also we will purchase those raw materials from the local market. And also the product development procedure will be based on the CT Fatanol ethyl for product production step. And also here is the work plan and budget estimation. Nearly this project will cost over $22,000 US. The expected output of our product is that developing nutritious, low gluten, and affordable snack biscuit for the consumption of all age groups. And also, as you know, the children are not consume most of beans alone, but the formulation of beans with this wheat to develop biscuit will increase the consumption of children's. And also it helps to alleviate protein, energy, malnutrition, and the micronutrient deficiency in our country. Thank you. Here is our team members.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kadir, for a very nice presentation. And we can open now to one or two questions, I think we can take from the audience, please. Do we have a question from the audience? Please don't be shy. Kadir, I will ask you about the biscuits while we are waiting for another question to come. Okay. Can you tell us about the biscuits that you are making from this mung bean flour, and if you think that their taste will be appealing and that their shelf life will be appropriate?
Okay, thank you for your question. The biscuit that we are going to develop with that. As you know, this mung bean has also a taste of slightly sweet, and it will not affect our tastes. And also we'll use another ingredients which didn't mention here, for example, such as sugar. So there is no problem with that of taste.
Mm-hmm. And I see there is a question asking about an acceptability. Have you done any testing the population of the sensory score? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. As I have already mentioned, there is no problem with the sensory within that of mung bean, since it is sweet, and we will use another ingredients.
Okay, great. So thank you, Kadir. Thank you very much for this excellent presentation about the mung beans in Ethiopia. Very nice. And now we go on to a presentation from the Spedibles. And the Spedibles will tell us about the valorization of spent grain. So can we have the Spedibles team? And Kadir, you can turn off your camera, please. And I see that Jeriel is here. Okay, the Spedibles are ready.
Hello.
Excellent. Hello. So please go ahead and share your screen. Okay, great.
Hello, everyone.
Good. Hello. Okay, I turn it over to you now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I also see I don't see your slides properly. I see also your next slide and your notes.
One moment.
Yeah. Can you show it in a presentation way? Yeah.
Trying to get that.
No, I still see next slide and notes. Yeah, now we have it. Yep, now it's good.
All right.
Okay, it's all yours.
All right. Hi and welcome everyone. This is the Spedibles, and we are Sanjana, Zaharullah, and me. And this is our presentation for the Sustainable Supply Chain Series based Valorizing Food Biodiversity. So as we begin, I'd like to ask you two questions. What do you think is the most popular or most highly consumed alcoholic beverage in the world? And also the second question, what is the most consumed fast food? To make things easier, the answer is beer and pizza. Beer is the most important segment, as you might have understood or guessed by now. People from all over the world and all age groups drink beer, so much so that 28.2 gallons of beer are consumed per person per year. which leads to around about 300 billion liters of beer consumed per year. That's a huge number. And as for pizzas, 1 out of 15 meals is a pizza, and 7 billion pizzas are sold every year. Now, before I hand over to my friend, who will describe the problem statement about these two, I'll leave you with one question. When was the last time, do you remember when was the last time you ate a pizza? And do you remember what happened to the box? If not so, I'd like to give it over to my friend Zaharullah, who will guide you through the problem statement.
Hello, everyone. So as Jerry asked, the answer is probably a few days ago, or maybe yesterday. So the increase in consumption of beer and pizza is creating a huge problem, and this problem is waste. And here are some statistical data related to the average waste per person per day, which is 1.4 kilograms per day, data from 2014. And in the next slide, we can see data related to the increase in the production of beer. And over the 20 past years, we can see an increase in beer in billions hectoliters, 0.7 around 0.7 billion hectoliters increase in beer production. And in the next slide, further details related to the beer production. So during the process, in the separation of liquid to solid material, there is a byproduct called spent grains, or BSG. And this byproduct mostly end up in landfills, and that's an amount of 80% of the product. So in cases that is not used, is ending up in landfills, and it's causing a lot of problems to the environment. So when it's a waste of 100 kilograms of this byproduct, there is a release of 513 kilograms CO2 greenhouses footprint in the environment. And the waste of this byproduct, the management of this waste is a huge problem for especially small breweries. So in the next slide, please. Yes, so the top producers for beer in Europe is Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. And in Belgium, in 2019, it was recorded over 300 breweries, including big corporation and small craft breweries. And in the right side, you can see a chart over the production of beer, so in which step the spent grains are produced. And as I mentioned, 80% is ending up in landfills, but 20 to 30% is ending as a final product, for example, for livestock feed, or used in food industry for baking ingredients, or biofuel, or fertilizer. And when this product is used for the food industry, there are a lot of concerns related to the alcohol percentage. Next one, please. Yes, I mentioned about the beer industry, and now related to the fast food industry, the pizza. So pizza is a very common fast food and always come in a box. And when those boxes are soiled with cheese, they cannot be recycled. Or when people are recycling the boxes are taking longer time to be recycled to process. So in the next slide about our product, the development of sustainable packaging. We had some research related to the market opportunities, and we can see an increase in value in the market for 2024. And that's great news for our product, because it's a sustainable and biodegradable product. So my colleague Sanjana will continue further the description and the process of the product.
Hi. So while we were drinking beer and also eating pizza, we just brewed beer the other day. So we realized, why not use this wastage into something that can be more greener? And we came up with the idea of spreadable box that is upcyclable, recyclable, biodegradable, and it's a one step greener than your current box. Next, please. So while spent grain is a very good material in itself, but to bind it, we had to use water and two types of starches, potato and rice starch. But to have give the box a better rigidity when we are forming it into a box, we needed fluted paper that has been recycled, and all these materials are food grade. Now, taking you through the production process, this product can be easily implemented in a current paper production line, and it's the same step, but instead of pulping, we save some energy in pulping in this case because we already have a ground product. We just have to add water and we bleach it to make it more brighter, and we dry it, and then we layer it with the flute layer. And we found out that during our research that most of the products get soiled, the boxes get soiled because they do not have air vents for hot products to release out air. So we did some research and found that if there are some vents, then it helps in the product to be less soiled, the packaging product. So we developed some vents in the product, and finally our product is ready, and then it goes into storage and distribution. So we did some calculation of the spreadable box, and this is just for a pizza box. For others, there might be more. So yeah, a spreadable box costs 91 euro cents, and this is very good compared to a normal pizza box, which costs up to 1.4 euros in a local pizza store in Belgium and Netherlands. Next, please. So yeah, the benefits of the spreadable box. Like I said, this idea was based on a pizza box, but we can make a rigid box out of spent grain, and it's applicable to multiple products. And like I described the vents, it's to prevent the soiling. And yeah, it is so flexible that it can shape to any product, be it for your tacos, be it for your chocolate chips or anything, chocolate cupcakes. And it can degrade in 45 days, while a normal paper packaging takes more than 60 days to degrade. Next, please. So the key stakeholders involved in this process would be breweries, because we are using their raw material, and this is by far the most valorization you can do in spent grain factor. And the packaging manufacturers are always looking for something new to make their packaging more biodegradable, so it would benefit them. And last but not the least, it would also benefit the food delivery chains, as it would sustainably help in reduction of cost and also make the product more sustainable, also keep the product that is inside more fresh, and it would also contribute to the government and the waste management systems, and also generate employment in the due course. Next. So yeah, that's all about our pizza box that has a lesser carbon footprint, biodegradable, sustainable. And why this box we see will be applicable, because now consumers are aware about the extensive packaging wastage, and by doing this we contribute to the circular economy.
So as my colleague and friend, they described a lot about the problem statements and the good points about our product. I'd also talk about the weaknesses and the threat that we came across during the SWOT analysis that we made for our product. And we found out that the biggest weakness that we have is the consumer acceptance, because at times there are people who still relate spent grain to alcohol, and that can be a problem in a few cultures. And for threats, the biggest threat is the initial investment and ingredient sourcing, since we'll have to make contracts with small breweries who might not have a regular production, or if we manage to get bigger breweries to partake and supply us with the raw ingredient. So the initial investments and the workout of the contracts would be the biggest threat that we'd have. For our strengths, we have multiple. A few of them are that the box is multi-purpose. It can be formed for any other purposes also, as my friend Sanjana just said. It's flexible, durable, and sustainable. And the opportunity, as we saw, is huge, because not only the packaging industry and the sustainable packaging industry is growing, but also this will add to the next packaging revolution. So the sustainability of the product is really high, because it is already using established methods, techniques, and chains that make other packaging materials. It has 0 to none waste or byproducts, because it is in itself using a byproduct of the beer industry first, and also there will be almost none due to our production chain being simple. It is cheaper in processing and manufacturing, as we saw in the cost comparison. And since we all know the raw material will be hopefully it will be easily available with contracts, and the constraint, the main constraint will be the main byproduct of another industry. On the right side, as you can see in the images, are a few examples of already used BSG products. The biggest one is the 6-pack ring, which is the beer holder 6-pack ring, which is being made out of BSG in some parts of the world. For the future impacts, of course, our product will promote valorization in not just one industry, but in a multi-industrial aspect. It will help reduce the carbon footprint of not only the beer industry, but also the food industry, and also help in promoting the growth of small breweries and small pizzerias and restaurants. And as I mentioned earlier, it might just add to the next packaging revolution. Thank you.
Super, thank you very much to the Spedibles team. During your presentation, we had a couple of questions come in about the bleaching process, asking what impact it might have on sustainability, and if any eco-friendly chemicals or bleaching agents might be used. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, we used a combination of hydrogen peroxide and chlorine because those were easily available, and we have not investigated on eco-friendly chemicals for now, but these are regarded as food friendly because they are also used in current production lines. And there was no residual amount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the question about the residual amount. Yeah, so there is no residual amount.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, second question, why are beer and pizza so popular among people? I guess it's just a survival tool because we are too lazy to cook as students. I mean, we try to live the healthy lifestyle, but it's not possible at times. So you end up on those two.
Yeah, I mean, due to the current hectic schedules that everybody has, the life schedules that we have, going to the universities or going to our workplaces, and then having barely no time to set up or prepare a nice meal for ourselves, it's more often than not that we end up going to these easy options available out there. Plus, it also tastes good. So
right, that's what I was going to add. I would like to ask you about the brewer's spent grain and what happens to it now?
Yeah, like Zach mentioned, some of it is used in bakeries, but what happens is, like, due to some religious sentiments, or so as to say the involvement in the alcoholic procedure, a lot of products when used in cookies or bread, they are not considered family friendly. This was a survey carried out in Netherlands and Belgium that we saw this, and people did not prefer it. And some of it, if it's really fresh, the BSG can go to feedstock. If it starts fermenting, then it cannot go if there's a lack in by any chance. And yeah, also it goes for feed of animals.
And we can take the final question asking, first complimenting you. It's a great idea for a startup. And then asking how you explain the contribution to increasing biodiversity.
Yeah, like we said, in developed countries, they generate the most waste, and we believe that contribution to biodiversity can be from the current wastage that is a huge factor for the governments here in Belgium and Netherlands, because they are using so much money, paying so much money. So we believe that we can increase the biodiversity in a very small way. This is our just idea of seeing it at the big picture.
We can take one more question, very interesting, asking if it would be possible to use other sources of waste as the raw material for your boxes.
That's a really nice question, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I would like to answer that if possible. Yeah, I've been working closely with the juice industry for some time, and then I saw that a lot of wastage, like sugarcane pulp after juicing, or even something like carrot. But the main problem is the color issues of the product and the starch content of the product, which is an issue which does not lead to good binding. That is what we found in spent grain. That is, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much to the Spedibles. We will move on, keeping our good timing. And we go to our next team, and this is the food economists. And we have the food economists. I see you already. Excellent.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you just fine. Please go ahead and share your screen. Okay, Amala, it's excellent. And I will turn it right over to you.
Hello, everyone. I am Ashwati from the team Food Economist. I am here to present our project on the theme Valorizing Food Biodiversity in our country with my team members Amala and Chitra, and also introducing our guide, Dr. Maya Rahman, Associate Professor in our university. Me and my team members are pursuing Masters in Food Science and Technology from Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies in India. So coming to the topic, India being the second most populated country in the world, there are two major problems that we are facing today. On one hand, there is enormous production of waste materials from food processing industries, and on the other hand, there is lack of clean and safe water. In order to solve these two major problems, we have developed a bio-aided water filtration system. So you will still be confused, right? I'll clear your doubts through my next slide. As I have already mentioned, our project is about a bio-aided water filtration system, and we are using only natural waste products from biodiverse sources like banana peel, papaya seeds, etc. in our system. So this is a slide showing our filtration system and its working. First, the contaminated water is coagulated with papaya seeds and citrus peel powder, and then this coagulated water is passed through our filtration system, as you can see in the slide. And finally, after passing through activated charcoal layer, clean and safe water can be obtained. Now, let me point out some of the aims that we are trying to achieve through our project. Pinpointing some of the important ones, our project is completely eco-friendly and it adds value to the biodiverse resources by the complete utilization of waste products from food processing industries. It also helps in the generation of employment opportunities in cottage industries, and it will ensure clean and safe water to the public. Also, since it is a low-cost method, even the economically weaker section of the society will have access to clean and safe water. So these are the aims that we are trying to achieve through our project.
Hello everyone, myself Chitra, and I am here to say about the filtration aids that we are using in our system and the purpose of using them. So the first filtering aid that we used was citrus peels, basically because it is a low-cost coagulant as well as it has the ability to lower the biological oxygen demand in the water. So the citrus peels obtained were cleaned and then it was dried, and later it was washed to remove the color and the starch present in the peels, and then it was washed and pressed. The second ingredient that we used were papaya seeds, basically because it has the ability to reduce the water hardness as well as the total dissolved solids that is present in the water. So the papaya seeds were collected, and the same procedure for those of citrus peels were also done here. The third important filtering aid that we used were coir, basically because it was used traditionally in water filtration system as a low-cost adsorbent. So the coconut husk was obtained, and every single strands was separated and then washed to remove the color, and then dried and cut into uniform sized pieces. The fourth filtering aid that we used were banana peel, because it has a highest efficiency removal of heavy metals as well as the ability to reduce the dye present in the water. So the banana peels were obtained and then washed to remove the particulate matter, and then soaked in calcium hydroxide solution for a few hours in order to remove the starch. And then the peels were removed and washed to remove the calcium hydroxide as well as the starch, and then it was dried and coarsely ground. The fifth filtering aid that we used were chitosan. So basically, what is chitosan? Chitosan is a deacetylated product which is obtained from the shell of crustaceans like shrimp, crab, etc. So this flaked chitosan was mixed in 1% acetic acid solution, and later extracts of moringa leaves, moringa seeds, as well as cassia fistula seeds were poured into the acetic acid solution containing chitosan, and then it was spread on muslin cloth and then dried. Why we are using chitosan is that chitosan has excellent anti-flocculent and antimicrobial properties, and the seeds or the other ingredients like moringa and cassia has the ability to remove the candida species. That is, it has excellent anti-candidal activity as well as anti-biofilm properties, antiviral properties, etc. And the sixth filtering aid that we used was chitosan without extract, because it has got anti-flocculent property. So the flaked chitosan was just mixed in 1% acetic acid solution and then spread on a muslin cloth and again dried. The seventh ingredient that we used was activated charcoal. The activated charcoal was obtained from coconut shells, which was burned at a higher temperature of 500 to 800 degrees Celsius, which was powdered and soaked in zinc chloride solution. And it was washed thoroughly to remove the zinc chloride, and coconut shell activated charcoal was obtained. And this was basically used to remove the traces of color and odor which was present in the pond water. And this step can be eliminated if we are using banana peel activated charcoal instead of this coconut shell activated charcoal. Now I am handing over to Amala.
Okay, so now I'll be explaining the development of our system. Initially, any contaminated water sample needs to be coagulated with citrus peel powder with a contact time of 15 minutes, followed by coagulation with papaya seed powder with a contact time of 45 minutes. So you can see the coagulated matter that has settled down at the bottom. This water is then passed through Wattman number 1 filter paper. And this filtrate is again passed through our main filtration system. Now this system consists of all our filtering aids. At the topmost layer, we have the coconut fibers or the coconut shell fibers to entrap all the large particulate matter and the oil spills in water. Below that, we have the crushed banana peel layer to absorb or to bind onto the heavy metals and to remove the dyes from water. Below that, we have 2 layers of chitosan, one with the extracts of cassia seeds, moringa seeds, and moringa leaves. And below that, we have the pure chitosan layer. They act as excellent antibacterial agents, and they have proven water filtration properties. Below that, we have a layer of adsorbent cotton to trap any particulate matter that comes from water. Now, this is again passed through activated charcoal. It is allowed to sit for some time, and the supernatant is again filtered to get clean water, as you can see in the figure. So in the next 2 slides, I would like to explain to you how our project relates to the theme of the competition, that is valorizing food biodiversity. So initially talking about coir is enormously produced in our country, India, but nowadays it is utilized only for things like mattress production or rope manufacturing, etc. And the use of coir or coconut shell fibers for water filtration is actually an age-old technique. So we are trying to bring back that technique through our project. In the case of papaya seeds, banana peels, as well as citrus peels, you can see the huge numbers of production, but none of these have any significant, they do not have any significant utilization. They just go as
Good
waste and they
morning.
get dumped off. Now, the next one, the next filtering aid is cassia seed. The cassia seed extracts are being used in a filtration system. As you can see in the map, the vegetation is so widespread in India, but unfortunately, the tree is only utilized for its flower for the golden shower, that too for a festival that occurs only in the month of April. So we are trying to utilize this underutilized seed extract in our system because they have very good antimicrobial effects. Now coming to moringa seeds and leaves, these are also produced in large amounts in our country and they have proven therapeutic effects on human health, but still they are also not completely utilized to their potential. Now the last one is chitosan, the last two layers of chitosan. Chitosan, like mentioned earlier, is a deacetylated product obtained from shrimp shell. So India is a major producer or exporter of shrimp. So we generate huge amounts of shrimp shell waste. So most of it is converted into chitosan that has proven antibacterial effects, and they also have proven filtration effects. Now you might be thinking we are using all organic ingredients. So how long it would stay? It is minimum 1 month because the only perishable ingredients we are using are banana peels. Even that we are removing all the starch from it, so it will have a good shelf life. If we are using banana peel charcoal, the shelf life can be further increased. This is the aquaculture pond in our university from where we collected sample pond water for our experiment. Now, these are some of the major results that helped us to come to a conclusion that our system can be effectively utilized to filter water. We got water that is clear, it was colorless, we got the hardness reduced. Now still this hardness was due to bicarbonate. So when we boil water, even this hardness can be removed. The total coliform level was completely reduced to, not completely, four-fold reduction was there with the use of only organic ingredients. The alkalinity was a bit higher than before, but according to WHO, they say that alkaline water is better for human health because they have good colon cleansing properties, anti-cancerous properties, and anti-aging properties. So this is how our water looked like after filtration. Now coming to the last slide of our presentation, I would like to pinpoint what is the major difference between the currently available water filtration systems and our water filtration system. As you can clearly see in the slide, there is a disadvantage of cost or expense in the case of UV or chlorine or reverse osmosis. But in our system, we are completely utilizing underutilized biodiverse resources that usually go as waste. So this is actually a low cost method and there is no issue of safety or chemical dosage in our system. And in the case of RO, there will be loss of minerals, the beneficial minerals and even the beneficial microorganism. But in our case, because we are using completely organic ingredients, there is no issue. There is no issue of lossage of minerals. So this is how we have tried to utilize all organic ingredients from the biodiverse resources that usually go as waste to develop a completely organic water filtration system. Thank you.
Okay, super. Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. I see we have a question already in the chat. Oh, this is a long question. Sheriel, do you want to turn on your microphone and ask your question? In the meantime, we look at Sanjana's question asking about fermentation. Was there any fermentation occurring to the banana peel?
Actually, there were no fermentation occurring for the banana peels because we have completely removed the starch from it. So that is the only reason why we got extended shelf life.
And also when compared to sand and stone based filtration system, this filtration system doesn't remove the microbes, only say the color of the water or say some color will be removed while using the sand and stone based filtration system. But our filtration system, even the microbes are removed to some extent or to a great extent by using only organic matter that go as waste.
Very good. An interesting question from Bruno asking if this filtration system can be used for emerging contaminants such as recreational drugs or pharmaceutical drugs?
As of now, the main ingredient that we're using for metal binding activity is banana peels. They have proven metal binding activities, but in the case of drugs, we haven't utilized or we haven't studied upon that. The water that we used actually did not have any metal content or heavy metal content, but the studies prove that banana peel has activity to bind onto heavy metals that is present in water.
And also there are studies saying that the banana peel has the ability to remove even atrazine-like pesticides from the water. So so there are chances, or the future studies can even say that recreation drugs and drugs can be removed by using these ingredients.
An interesting question from Christoph on a different topic. He says the step beyond is to industrialize your process. Do you have a plan to go big with this water filtration?
Yes, of course.
It is a very low cost method, and we can industrialize that method, and we can obtain safe and clean drinking water by only using waste products.
Because India is just a developing country, there are many cases and of people who are infecting with waterborne diseases. So, and also the water filtration systems which are available in India are very high cost. Basically, they go beyond 10,000 Indian rupees for high efficiency filters. So we are planning to give good efficiency filters at relatively very low cost, because we are creating this using the waste that is generated in India. And all the ingredients that we are using are fully indigenous and produced in bulk in India.
Do you see these filters being used in individual households?
Currently, nobody is utilizing it. It is an innovation that we have developed using all these organic ingredients. So it has to be industrialized or commercialized for people to start using.
And let's take one last question. A few people are asking about the microbiological analysis. Besides the coliform that you mentioned, do you have any other information on the microbiological contents of the water?
We have done microbiological analysis only in terms of coliforms, because that is the main microbiological analysis we do for water. And so the drinking or the potability of water depends upon the source of water we are using. We have chosen pond water, so the coliform level has reduced to more than 4-fold. If we are using water that is better than pond water, then we can obviously utilize it for drinking, because the total coliform level will reduce that much.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting and well done presentation. And we move on to our second to last group, and this is Asmita, and they will tell us about a traditional cheese. And I see that you are ready, ladies. So you can go ahead and share your screen. And let's test your sound. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Wait a few minutes. My share screen. Can you see my share screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, there it is. Now we are set. Okay, it is all yours. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good night from Indonesia and good afternoon for Europe. It's an honor to me can be a speaker in this competition. First, I want to say much obligate to ISEKI-Food Association to giving our team until today. This project competition gives us chance to introduce our traditional food to the world. Our topic is Dangke, traditional cheese from Little District, Indonesia. Before I start to talk about our project, first, I want to introduce my team. I'm Isma Ulfia Aziz.
I'm Siti Adiargo.
We are team from Indonesia. Food Factory 4-Us 2020 Until 2021, Valorizing Food Biodiversity is focused to find a solution for valorizing food biodiversity in our country. Before I will continue my presentation, have you ever heard about Indonesia before? Yeah, Indonesia is unique country, and people call it Indonesia is island country. We have 1,915 million kilometer square land area, 1,340 ethnic and more than 5,300 traditional food. One of the traditional food in Indonesia is dangke. Dangke is traditional cheese from Indonesia. Dangke is made of buffalo or cow milk mixed with papaya enzyme from papaya fruit. Dangke in the history is from Dutch. A long time ago, someone from German was given a food from the society in Anrekan Regency, and he said danke. Yeah, danke is meaning thank you in English, but society in Anrekan though danke is the name of that product. This is the graphic of global consumption of milk per year and stunting in South Asia. Based on data global consumption of milk per year in 2018, Indonesia is very lack of milk consumption, only 16.23 kilogram per capita, and it's far from the other countries like Japan and Russia. Low consumption of milk can be one of the reasons why stunting in Indonesia is ranked third in the Southeast Asia. As we know, that stunting is the condition when the children have not salt enough because lack of nutrition, such as calcium. Those conditions make a danke can be the solution. Danke has a good potential that is a 13.89 of fat and 17.01 of protein. Other than that, lifestyles makes a lot of people need of food variation, and also in this era, a lot this add by cheese. But danke is not popular, only known by people around Anrekan Regency. It makes the income of danke producer is still lack. Just for information, most of danke are production by local. This is the population in Indonesia. As we know, the pandemic COVID-19 is limiting our activity. Social media is one thing that we can do in this situation. The biggest population in Indonesia is the third generation, is 27.94 from around 270 million population, and then they are using internet. Based on data, there were 117.5 million internet users in Indonesia in January 2019. The number of internet users in Indonesia increased by 25 million, or about 17% between 2019 and 2020. This is a quite high record and making social media very appropriate to introduce danke. Even more, the pandemic is dragging us to move to the cyberspace. That's why Asmita team did a few activities as our project in social media. First, we create a YouTube account and video explain about danke and how to make a danke, how to emak danke. And the second is we join to social media to share information about danke. The third is we do the last is we do perform a webinar on 6 February 2021 with academic with the last 5 years focus doing research about danke. The first speaker delivery how danke can support national food needs, and she has found a few product innovation about danke, like danke which can be stored longer, and the second speaker is danke practitioner since 2008. She delivered about danke business opportunity. She mentioned she mentioned the promotion about her product is a problem to her business. Our webinar was attended by 176 participants and very interactive. Our project activity have three goals. Have four goals. First is increasing income, especially local donkey producer. It's around like 20%. And the second is increased consumption, which has a long-term impact on increased milk consumption in Indonesia and the more stunting rate in Indonesia. And the third is people know about donkey. They are get knowledge about donkey. And the last is society skill development, which can give skill to improve donkey local. And this is our YouTube account, Instagram account, and our webinar pamphlet. You can find us on this link. And this is our online webinar, and you can watch our full video on YouTube in this link. But we are really sorry because when we did online webinar, we using bahasa. Maybe that's enough from us. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thanks very much to the team Asmita. And we will open the floor for 1 or 2 questions, please. We have a question asking about the donkey cheese. Is it the same as tempeh? Isma, do you see the question in the chat?
Sorry, I can't see the question. I think my network is bad.
Maybe I can answer?
Yes, please.
Okay. Actually, it is different with the tempeh because tempeh is made from fermentation of soybean, but it's made from buffalo or cow milks, but it's made with papaya enzyme, so it's made like a cheese. But the tempeh is more like a beef for like no, it's different thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Siti. Thank you very much. Is there another question from the audience? We have time for another question. I will ask about your interest in spreading the knowledge about the dengue cheese. I see you are very active in Indonesia. Are you also trying to promote the cheese in other countries?
This is joining to this project competition is 1 hour things to share about donkey to other country, because we know in this project we meet people from around the world, so it can be a place to us to introduce donkey to the world.
Okay, excellent. And now we have someone asking about the production method of the cheese. Can you tell us about that?
Thank you. The method of production of this cheese. If you want to know the complete how to produce this cheese, you can come to our YouTube account. It's very complete. Then you can see the video, and it's give you more easy to know about how to make a donkey.
Yes, in fact, the Asmita team showed the video to us, and we learned all we felt we could make it in our kitchen. So this video is very useful, very detailed. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much to the Asmita team. And we go now to our final presentation of the afternoon. And that will come from the FAM for Future team. And I see that Priya is here, she is ready. So please share your screen. And let's check your sound. Okay, the screen sharing is excellent. And how about the sound?
Yeah, can you?
Yes, perfect. Okay, I turn it over to you, FAM for Future. Okay, it is all yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We are the FAM for Future. Going to present our topic on edible cutleries from oil in India. Am I audible?
Yes, you are fine.
I would first like to introduce my team to you. We are a group of 4 master students studying food and agribusiness in Audencia Business School in France. My teammates are Priya Sandra, Aishwarya, Mame, and Ritujashri, myself. So we come from food and agribusiness backgrounds, and we all work together towards sustainability. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the content that we are going to be presenting today. So first we'll be looking at the problems occurred from the food processing industry, and then look at its market analysis. And then we will be proposing our innovation, that is our product. And we will also be discussing about the process flow, development, and the costing of our product. And at last, we will also be discussing what impact our product has created or will create to the environment. And then we would conclude our presentation. Next slide, please. When we were thinking about sustainability and on how to take sustainability to a whole new level, we were looking at 3 major problems. One is that India discards about 120 billion pieces of plastic cutleries annually, and most of it is just single-use plastics. And because of this, the aquatic lives are endangered, especially, and also the landfills are filled with such single-use plastics, which cause a great damage to the ecosystem because it doesn't degrade over time. So that was our first problem. The second problem that we came across was that the food processing industry itself, during the processing or the manufacturing process, they derive a lot of byproducts, and generally these byproducts are being thrown away in the nature, or there is no value added to such byproducts. And the third problem that we saw was that the food citizens, the citizens of India and the global citizens as well, we are expecting more sustainable consumption. So we were looking at a solution that could combat all these problems. The next slide, please. And on the meanwhile, while also looking at the market analysis, we saw a growing awareness of the need for sustainable cutleries, especially because in India, the government has banned the production or consumption of single-use plastics. But still there was a gap, and the consumers really needed them, but they weren't able to use single-use plastics because it wasn't being produced or sold currently. And also 250 tons of plastic cutlery was sold monthly in the food business during the restaurant delivery or takeaway processes. So that was also a gap. And also due to the ban on plastic, the single-use plastics in India, there was really a need for something more new and something more innovative. Next slide, please.
Coming to the birth of our product and how exactly did we come up with the idea of edible cutleries after realizing how there's a need to replace plastic in India. From the various studies that were conducted, we understood that the oil industry is huge in India and so is the waste generated by it. One of the byproducts of the oil industry is oil meal, and we thought of ways that we could help to add value to this oil meal, which at the moment is discarded as either waste or it's used as a low grade fertilizer or as animal feed. So now we present to you our innovative project, which is formulating edible as well as biodegradable cutlery from oil meal, which will not only help us to reduce the plastic waste, but it will also help us to add value to an otherwise waste product. And to know exactly how did we develop this edible cutlery, I'll leave the floor to Aishwarya.
Thank you, Priya. So for the development of the product, we developed it by a trial and error method, and we chose peanut oil meal for this case. And we used really simple ingredients that is easily available in the Indian market, and a simple short process so that it's economic and easy to produce on a large scale in industrial manufacturing. So the key ingredient of this product is the peanut meal, and it constitutes about 70% of the entire product, along with ingredients like wheat flour, rice flour, sugar, water, and oil. The other ingredients are mainly used to gain the perfect structure of what we need and the taste and flavor of the final product, that is the edible cutlery. And the process of making this was to mix these ingredients together, and it was finally kneaded and made into a dough and rested for like 20 minutes, and it was baked at 450 degree Fahrenheit for about 4 to 5 minutes in any desired shape like a cup or a spoon or anything. And one main factor here is that the anti-nutritional factor in peanuts is eliminated during the heating process, as in the baking process. So it is safe for consumption. And next slide, please. Yeah. So the cost of the edible cutlery was estimated to be similar to that of the plastic cutlery and other biodegradable cutleries, which is about 0.5 to 0.2 rupees in that is the Indian currency. And this cost is when it is produced on a larger scale, making it, since it's similar to that of any plastic cutleries, it's more economic and a better alternative than every existing cutleries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aishwarya. So with the transition to circular economy, with responsible and sustainable consumption as well as sustainable production of our food system, we look at the following impacts of the project. So first, we start with the social impact. That is, we see the project to be an answer to sustainable consumption required by the SDG, as well as a growing concern among consumers. And secondly, we look at the environmental impact. That is, the project seeks to reduce the risk of disposing of waste from processing of food, and also the disposal of waste from plastic use. And all these disposals waste are reduced through our project. And thirdly and last, the economic impact also seeks to look at a new revenue stream for our industries, because when they reuse or valorize their byproduct, or the byproduct which goes to waste, is also serves as a new source of revenue, and also it serves as a new opportunity for youth employment, and also it fosters circular economy. So with this project, we look at the conclusion. Okay, so in conclusion, we realize that by identifying and solving the problem of industry waste, as well as plastic waste disposal in India, we are aiming at a sustainable development to the whole value chain. That is from the industries to the consumers. That is from industry during processing and also consumers during consumption of food. And lastly, we see our project to have a scalable potential to be launched in other parts of the world, especially in Africa, where we have a huge potential for agricultural value chain development. So with the edible calories, we see it as an opportunity for African food processors to also increase their value chain activities as well. Thank you. So this is our last slide. Thank you.
Oops, I was mute. Thank you. Thank you very much to FAM for Future for a wonderful closing presentation on edible cutlery. We have some questions coming already. First one is about the mechanical properties. Does the spoon or the fork, is it strong enough to hold your food?
Yes, we had conducted physical property tests like the tensile strength of the spoons that we developed, and it was strong enough like any other plastic cutleries. And we also tested for the solubility, and it was solid enough and did not dissolve for around 30 minutes in warm liquid.
Mm-hmm. And another part of that question is asking if people really do eat it after their meal. Is it like a dessert?
No, it's
Yes,
completely.
in fact,
It's completely up to the people. Some people might like to consume it after their meal, and some people might not really want to consume that as well. So for that, the cutlery is biodegradable. So it's up to the consumer's perception.
Mm-hmm. And then, great, we have a question about molds and yeast during storage. Is there any special preservative that is required?
No, our product is a solid product, and for example, we can distinguish it with a biscuit. Uh, it is of that consistency, that texture. So there is no really much of yeast or mold growth on it because the moisture content is really low. So there won't be any such things. So we just have to store it in a cool and dry place.
Mm-hmm. And a question about using different oils. Have you tried any other oil meal beside peanut oil?
We had also tried developing using sesame oil meal because that is the second largest used in India. And one reason that we didn't mix up these oil meals was because every oil meal has a different treatment. Because sesame has a lot more of anti-nutritional factors present in it. So we'll have to autoclave it prior to this process to eliminate those. And so is the soybean oil meal. So since peanut is less of those process, we chose that. But the same process can be used for any other oil meal. But the initial process for eliminating the anti-nutritional factor is different for the different oil meals.
And we have also, I'm sorry, Mami, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. And also to add on to what Ashra said, there are other oils like the soya bean, which can be used, but the soya bean also has its own global footprint because it uses a lot of water. So it's not also sustainable to use other oils aside the sesame and the peanut as well.
Mm-hmm. And we will take the final question of the afternoon, and this is asking what the impact is on biodiversity.
Okay, so first of all, we see we have about three models of impact. So I will look at the economic impact on biodiversity, where food processors are able to valorize the waste they produce to other new sources of income for them. So in the whole biodiversity, we see an impact on that, and also the reduction of cutlery waste into water bodies is also another impact, where aquatic bodies do not have impact on cutlery waste being disposed in there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much to the team FAM for Future.
Thank you.
So now we come to the end of our program of team presentations. And we have now the long-awaited break. So we will take a 20-minute break. And during this time, I ask the members of the advisory board to please complete your evaluations and close your file so that we can look at it in the Dropbox and do the tally of the scores. All of the teams gave excellent presentations, and we will all look forward to seeing the results of the advisory board evaluations. During this 20-minute break, I ask also that you, all of the participants in this final virtual conference, and there are over 100 people participating, please, can you evaluate our conference? And you can do that by going to this web link, and we will also put it in the chat for you so you can click on it. I think it is already there, and this will bring you to a Google Forms where we ask a few brief multiple choice and fill-in questions, and this will help us to improve our future competitions. So please, we can leave our cameras and microphones off, and we will come back at 15:45 Central European Time when we will be ready to present the winning team. See you in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Bye, everyone. For now, it's 15:45 Central European Time, and we have tallied all of the scores of the advisory board, and we welcome you back now to the final 5 minutes of today's Food Factory for Us International Student Competition Game Final Virtual Conference. So welcome back. Of course, I have to start this last session by saying thank you to all of the teams. For those in the audience who may not know, these students worked really hard for 4.5 months to produce these high quality reports and to make their presentations. And they did all of this voluntarily, and they did it also independently. And they actively engaged in our online training. And we asked a lot of them because we are also doing research on how to improve this action learning concept in an online setting. And these students gave us what we asked, filling out questionnaires, participating in reflection sessions, and at the same time, preparing the fabulous projects that they shared with you today. And as you saw, every team found solutions that are innovative and doable and are certainly of interest to people in the food industry and in the food chain. So I say to all of the teams, a giant congratulations and keep up the good work. And many of you have seen in the chat that this conference has been recorded and it will be available on the ISEKI-Food Association YouTube channel. So I assure the teams that your projects will continue to be shared. And now we are ready to announce the winning team of the 2020-2021 competition. And I will say that the scores were very close. All of the teams did a fabulous job. And I'll start by saying who our third place team was. The third place team is Cheese Innov. Thank you to the Cheese Innov team. third place out of the 9 teams in today's competition. And the second place team is the food economists. The food economists did a fabulous job, and congratulations to you on your second place finish. And the drum roll, please. The first place team in this year's competition is Team FAM. Team FAM, congratulations. You are the winners of the 2020-2021 Food Factory 4-Us. You have a guaranteed presentation at the ISEKI-Food Association International Conference to be held in June, online, and you will be invited to Brussels to give your presentation at the final project meeting in 2022 of the Next Food Project. Team FAM, can you turn on your cameras, please, so that we can take a picture?
Thank you so much, everyone. It means a lot for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great, great. Christoph, you get a picture of Team FAM? I'll turn my camera off.
If you could just for a second stop sharing, then I have them in one screen.
Okay, great. I'll stop sharing. Let's see. I'm trying. How's that? And let me turn my camera off so I'm not in their publicity picture. There they are.
And one smiling. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Super. Let me close now and let everyone leave by asking all of the participants to please remember that we need your final evaluation, learner evaluation end, and it is on our competition website. Please fill out this evaluation. We need it for our research. And also we will give you your certificates as third place, second place, winning team, and participant once we get your evaluations. So please go to it. And I tell the 93 other people still here participating in the conference, please stay informed. This competition is a series of competitions, and we are already starting to plan the next one. So please go to ISEKI-Food.net and sign up for the ISEKI newsletter, and then you will hear well in advance when the next competitions are, what the topic is, and you are invited to participate. So with that, Christoph and Line, have we covered everything?
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great afternoon. Thanks to everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, and thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
all participants. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.